It's not every day that I get to try a new airline. Especially rare for it to be a US airline, as I'm pretty familiar and jaded with all of them at this point. But while scouting out Page, Arizona as a place for a Hyatt mattress run on Google Maps, I saw there was a regional airport there, and what do you know, it's served by an airline I'd never flown before. What's it like to fly Contour, an airline you've likely seen but never flown, that flies seemingly random routes all across the country? Let's find out on these flights between Phoenix and Page, Arizona. This video will be split into sections. What is Contour, how do you book it, and what it's like to fly. Timestamps as always if you want to skip around. I previously covered the Essential Air Service in a prior video, where the federal government subsidizes airlines to fly certain routes. Contour turned this practice into their entire business model. Rather than compete with other airlines or rely on passengers buying tickets to make money, they exclusively fly Essential Air Service routes with no competition and get paid by the government. And it's actually sustainable and profitable. At this point, due to COVID, none of their routes even connect with each other. Their only flight from Phoenix is to Page, Arizona. Their only flight from BWI is to Macomb, Georgia. Their only flight from Oakland is to Crescent City, California. Unless you are traveling to a city that is only served by Contour, you will likely have never flown them. But perhaps you've seen them parked in the corner of a larger hub and wondered what they are. They operate a fleet of 13 used Embraer 135s, 10 of which are currently in service. How do you go about booking a Contour flight then? Well, you could go to their website and book a ticket directly. I bought a ticket from Page back to Phoenix this way for only $49. For a flight that saves over 4 hours of driving, I thought it was well worth it. But as an Essential Air Service airline, they have to interline with a major carrier, and Contour partners with American. You can't book a complete itinerary on Contour's website, but you can book on American's site an itinerary that involves Contour. It's advertised as a seamless travel experience. Spoilers, it's not. In fact, it was comically bad, with blame to go around to both airlines. Contour only operates a single flight a day between Phoenix and Page, so I booked my flight there on American. Flying from San Antonio earlier in the morning in order to make that flight. No other airline would have got me there in time, believe me, I checked. Additionally, booking a single itinerary would protect me in case something went wrong, which is important when there's only one flight a day. Booking through American, I was unable to select seats on my Contour flight. Fine, that's not unexpected, so I called into Contour. Everyone from Contour I interacted with was incredibly friendly, and the phone agents were no different. They provided me with a Contour PNR, which was different than my American one, and let me snag seat 1A, which we will see in a bit is a bit of a meme seat. Checking in online for my American flight the night before, I received a notice saying that they couldn't check me into my Contour flight, and that I should contact Contour for that. Fine, I went to Contour's website and tried to check in. It gave me a timeout error, with both American and Contour PNRs. I called in and the phone agents apologized. They also couldn't check me in on their end. They said it was likely an IT glitch and I should try again in a few hours after they fixed it. Spoilers, they didn't fix it. Come the day of the flight and I fly from San Antonio to Phoenix. Again, I'm trying to check in online and I just can't. Why do I care so much? Well, Contour departs out of Terminal 3, but I arrive and want to be in Terminal 4. So I head over to Terminal 3 to check in with a Contour employee. But I had a 5-hour layover in Phoenix, and the check-in staff only open up 2 hours before. So faced with an abandoned desk, I call Contour again. And again they can't check me into their own flight. Out of ideas, I wondered if American might be able to help, as I'd never actually spoken to anyone at American about this, only going off what the app had told me at check-in. Taking the train back to Terminal 4, I waited in a line to speak with someone at check-in, and read them my PNR. Even though he was wearing a mask, I could see the agent's face twist into abject confusion, and I burst out laughing, saying, "Oh no, I sure don't like that look." He wasn't familiar with Contour. He wasn't even sure how to pronounce it. After a lot of clicking and typing, he started saying that the agents in San Antonio should have given me my boarding pass, which they couldn't have as I had checked in online. You know, the future of air travel, minimal contact due to COVID, all that jazz. Finally, he was able to print out a boarding pass. I'd somehow lost my pre-check in the shuffle. Contour does indeed participate, but I finally grasped a boarding pass in triumph. So that was it, right? All my fault. I should have just asked an American agent from the beginning, and my hour of needless wandering was unnecessary. Well, I said I had a boarding pass in my hand. Never said it ended up working. Because it didn't. While it did let me pass security, it didn't let me board the plane. When scanned, the error came up saying that the ticket was for the wrong flight. The Contour boarding agent, though, sort of just shrugged, saying that it happens all the time, and let me on the flight anyway.
Do they have a code clearance?
It's an older code, sir, but it checks out. I was about to clear them.
I don't know, the whole thing seemed rather casual.
I don't know. Fly casual.
Why did I care so much about getting a boarding pass, you may ask? Well, on my long layover, I'd love nothing more than to spend my time sipping champagne in either the Escape or Centurion lounge. However, both lounges are in Terminal 4 with American, not in Terminal 3 where Contour is. And in order to access either lounge with the Amex Platinum card, you need a departing boarding pass, and a simple itinerary won't cut it. And there is no way to transfer airside, so once I'd exited security, there was no way back into the terminal. Are things any better booking directly through Contour, you may wonder? Well, they don't send you a reminder to check in online 24 hours before your flight like almost every other airline does these days. And while I had entered my known traveler number while booking the ticket, it had been lost apparently, and I needed to re-enter it again when checking in. Aggravating, but at least it worked. Though, as we'll see, security at the Page airport is, not much. Arriving at my gate in Phoenix, there was nobody home when boarding was supposed to start. Finally, a gentleman arrived, and I was happy to see that his face mask gave great protection to his lower lip and nothing else. The passenger speaking with him was also having issues with his boarding pass and the inability to check in. There were only 5 of us boarding, so nothing formal. Just, Contour? Come on. So after my boarding pass errored out and he shrugged, I boarded, having to gate check my suitcase. The Embraer 135 is configured in a 1-2 layout, and seat 1A is just hilarious. While all normal seats have 36 inches of legroom, compare that to the 30 inches I just had on American, the legroom in 1A is likely the most I've ever had, and that's including Etihad apartments. Sadly, you can't put anything on the floor as it's a bulkhead row, but with 5 people on the flight, there was plenty of, albeit small, overhead bin space. The lone flight attendant Zoe was very friendly and was fascinated by one of my cameras. While I shoot on a Sony Alpha 6300 and a GoPro Hero 8 Black, she was most interested in my newest toy, a DJI Pocket 2. If I were a real YouTuber, I'd have an Amazon affiliate link for people down below. But I'm not, so I don't. Flying time was just over 40 minutes at 24,000 feet. The fasten seatbelt sign remained on for the entire flight, so I don't have much footage of the cabin, though we were provided with a bottle of water before takeoff. One reason I love flying over and traveling to the Southwest is the scenery. Starting in the comparatively low altitude of Phoenix, the flight goes straight over Flagstaff, still covered in snow. But on this flight in particular, be sure and sit on the left side, because after passing Flagstaff, we even got a view of the edge of the Grand Canyon from the air. How cool is that? After reuniting with the Colorado River, we descended to the plateau Page is located on, and landed at Page Municipal Airport. Understandably, deplaning was pretty quick, and my bag, the only gate-checked one, was already waiting for me. While Navajo Nation and Antelope Canyon were closed due to the pandemic, Page is a great staging area for many sites, including Horseshoe Bend, the Grand Canyon, Lake Powell, and even the Utah parks of Bryce and Zion. Returning to the airport about an hour before my flight, I headed to the single security lane. The ticket agent came running over to me, apparently shocked that I had checked in online, or more likely was successfully able to. There's a single security line and not really any divider between it and the gate area. The TSA agents not only knew the Contour employees, but most of the passengers as well, as it is a small town after all. Though it was funny that one of the non-ribbing Contour employees apparently forgot about 311 and had to toss out some Listerine. Sitting in the gate area, a robotic voice read some updated COVID boarding instructions and asked that if we had any questions to please come see me.
Our boarding process has changed. We will be boarding by rows starting in the highest number located on your boarding pass.
Which was funny as there was nobody there at the time. I was seated in a more normal seat this time, which definitely could have used a refresh. The seat pocket was about to come apart, and my seat was incredibly squeaky, likely much to the consternation of the person behind me. There were about a dozen people on this flight. We took off to the north and circled over Lake Powell and the Glen Canyon Dam as we turned south. No view of the Grand Canyon this time, though we did get a better view of Flagstaff. Not long after, we approached the suburban sprawl of Phoenix and came into land. We parked at the same gate and I got my bag planeside. The gate is shared with Alaska and Air Canada, so our plane didn't even wait till the afternoon, but left the gate right after we did. So Contour. It was a fun experience for sure. Obviously it's not an airline one would fly regularly, unless there's a real reason to and you either live or work in one of the underserved cities they fly to. They really need to work on their IT for sure, and improve their interline with American. But all the employees were very friendly, and if you're flying them, chances are you're going someplace interesting, at that very least. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, click that button and please subscribe for many more flight reviews to come. I'll see you on the next one.